I never go to sell your home without understanding how real estate commissions work on the seller side and the buyer side. Now, this video is going to be strictly about the seller side and the different ways you can negotiate commissions in the actual listing contract. And we're going to bring up the contract and go over that. And by the way, I'm Laura Rosqvist with UtahHomesLaura.com. I'm with the brokerage of Fathom at the time of this video recording. Make sure you subscribe. I get into the nitty-gritties on what you need to do to protect yourself as a seller, as a buyer, how to sell your home, buy a home, where to live in Utah, and basically everything you need to know about what's going on with the real estate market here in Utah. So let me go ahead and bring up the listing agreement. Okay, here we are. Now, when you go to list your home, you're going to have several documents. And one of those documents is going to be the exclusive right to sell, to list your home. What this is an agreement between you and the agent you've chose to list your home. And the main part, this first part is basically, the brokerage you're hiring, the agent who's authorized to work for you, and then it has your, your name here, and then the legal property description, and then the expiration of this listing agreement. Now, right down here, this is what we're talking about is brokerage compensation. Now, there was a big change in real estate compensation rules, the way it was done back in August 17th of 2024. Big changes. One of the changes is the form. When you go to list your property, there's no longer one little space where you put in a combined commission where that agent, listing agent, will usually split that and then offer half of it to the buyer's agent and go ahead and put that on the MLS so all the buyer's agents knew what the seller was willing to contribute. The second thing is they've done away with listing the buyer's agent commission on the MLS. So nobody knows what that commission is except for the seller and the seller's agent. So let me go ahead and walk you through what is actually on the listing form so that when you go to negotiate your commissions with your listing agent, you'll know and be a little familiar with what your options are here. So when your agent, you're going to be paying your listing agent to sell your home. You're going to be paying either a percentage that's negotiated between you and your agent and a dollar amount. Now, you don't have to have a dollar amount. Dollar amount is usually like a doc fee or transaction coordinating fee or some other fee. Each brokerage is different. Some have fees, some don't. And then down here, if an agent comes in, they're unrepresented. Now, I'm not talking about if there's a limited agency. I'm talking about if there is an unrepresented buyer, a buyer that's coming in without an agent. The seller agrees to pay X amount of percentage or dollar amount towards that acquisition to be added to this fee right here. And the reason why is because there's additional liability and responsibilities during the transaction that the realtor would have to take the risk for, and also the additional work to do. Now, this right here is the buyer's agent compensation. So this is the listing, this is unrepresented, and this is the buyer's agent. So now you have a buyer that's coming in, they have their own agent, which is always a good thing because I can get in that in the next video when we get into limited agency and unrepresented buyers and the way the commission works with that and the risk with that. Okay, so now this is what you're going to offer the buyer's agent to bring in the buyer. Now, this is not listed on the MLS. The only people who know about this, as I've already mentioned, is you and the listing agent that you've hired. But I will tell you, when you have a buyer and you have that buyer agency agreement, which is signed, which is by law, you have to have that signed through NAR. It's new rule. You cannot show a home without having that signed. And that will outline the commission that the buyer would be obligated for. However, sellers are smart. They're pretty savvy. They're recognizing if they do not offer a commission to the buyer's agent, then they're going to have a lot less people look at their home because the buyers are coming to me and they're going to the other realtors and they're saying, I want you to call the listing agent and find out what the seller is contributing towards the buyer's agent commission. And if they come back and they say, well, they're not offering anything, or 1%, or I don't know, 2%, then the buyer usually says, well, I don't want to go look at that property then. So I represented a buyer where the listing agent, the seller, did not pay very much of a commission. I think it was on like 2% or something. I'm not sure what it was, but I show all those properties regardless. Or their clients say, no, I don't want to go see the property. But my client said, yeah, let's go ahead and look at it, and then we'll negotiate in price and so forth. So I went in, before we put our offer in, they lowered the price even more. And so we actually paid $40,000 less for the home to take that 2% commission. And then if the sellers would have just offered $10,000 more, they wouldn't have had to lower the price, and they would have only paid $10,000 instead of having to reduce it $40,000. So they would have saved $30,000 if they would have just offered more commission. But again, all of that's negotiable. There will be other forms your listing agent will have you sign. We're not going to get into that right now. I just wanted you to understand, if you go to sell your home, you need to understand how the compensation works on the seller side and how it influences the buyer side as well. Meanwhile, go ahead and subscribe, watch the next video, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Talk to you later.